Was the track this weekend at a Walmart parking lot? I couldn't tell. There was too many effing curbs around.
What chance does a privateer have?
Welcome to Supercross.
What do you say to a factory ride?
That is a simple joke that the track, at least the content of the dirt, was rather inappropriate in lack of a better term. The dirt sucked. The dirt sucked. There was too many rocks everywhere. I think the riders probably were running traction control, like retarding the timing so that their wheels wouldn't spin as much because of how much silt was on there. And not to mention in between the jumps, the track was very bermy, right? Because it was just dry. It was like a practice track of a Supercross. Lack of water. Blue groove. There were some ruts. However, you're going to get much bigger bumps, bigger holes than these choppy little because of just the lack of moisture. And that's going to make it difficult if you're trying to do some on-offs, because every lap that face of that jump is going to almost deteriorate like a whoop. And so these guys are going to have to preload harder to try to get over it. That's why we saw a lot of guys, even around the first corner, you know, back when they're after doing the double-double, they normally would triple on, sometimes quad over, but a lot of the guys, you saw them mess up and sometimes hit the face of the next little double just because they didn't get the timing right, because of how much faster you have to go because the inconsistency of the traction with just it being so silty, right? And I'm very surprised that riders didn't have handguards on because of the amount of rocks that were around the course. Last thing I'll say about the track, it was extremely jumpy. It was very technical, very technical. It was kind of fun to watch. There was a lot of different lines that riders could take. And I noticed that a lot of guys were seat bouncing as opposed to preloading. And again, I contribute that to just the simple fact that the dirt sucked. You had to get more pop. Anytime you seat bounce, it is quite a bit more difficult to, I mean, you just lose your forward momentum because you pop up so high. So if you just preload, it's a much faster technique because you're not getting as high of altitude, right? You know, because wheels on the ground, you go faster. 450 guys. I'm gonna group both of them in this video because I don't want to split them up. And yeah, it's just what I want to do this week. So the 450 guys, Webb, Cooper Webb, you know, gets the whole shot that just goes backwards after a while. Is it just because he's like, oh, fuck this, I'm done with this? You know, his speed is just barely off, just barely off. However, just barely being off is the difference between winning and finishing right around the top 10, right? Now, granted, I do believe that he gave up at some point where he just kind of phoned it in, where he wasn't going to take some of those risks to make a triple or make a quad. He might be like, I messed up a little bit. I'm not going to just keep it WFO. I'm going to double, kind of roll this scenario. And, you know, he's looking forward to maybe motocross, if he's going to race motocross. I still am kind of iffy if he is or not, because these guys need to be able to take a break. They need to be able to take a break. Supercross is, at this point, I can't tell if it's more dangerous than motocross. Yeah, the speeds aren't there. However, these guys seem to get quite a bit more injured during the Supercross season. I did a video a couple weeks ago that over half of all the factory guys are injured. That's not even including the privateers, because that number is just through the roof. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anderson's on point. He's got something to prove. He's going to end the series strong. He's definitely the guy to beat. He's won 2 in a row now. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the last 2. Tomac is going to get the championship this weekend in Denver, hometown race. Wouldn't be surprised if he finishes 7th again. I personally believe that he was on the fence whether or not he was going to continue to race after this season, just because he's getting up there. He's got a family, got kids. You know, you want to make some good paychecks. I do think with him clinching this championship, he's going to renegotiate his contract to be rather pricey, because Kawasaki wasn't giving him what he felt he deserved. At least that's what I've heard about the whole scenario. And same thing with his suspension guy over there at Kawasaki. You know, it was big old sabotage, right? Sabotage. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Tomac as now, you know, the ball's in his court. He can pretty much offer whatever he wants for his stock. He could be like Elon Musk, right? And just say, hey, it's overvalued. You got to give me this much. You know, I guess shitty analogy because Elon is the one actually purchasing, not, you know. Tomac is basically Twitter. And Yamaha, Star Racing Yamaha, is going to be like Elon Musk. They're going to have to overpay for his ass in order to keep him there the next season. 250 class. I did make a video about Faulkner and the Silly Pass off track if you want to watch that. There's other guys like Rotomoto and them, you know, Danny over there, I know, Donnie, right? He made a good comparison with Anderson and Malcolm at Daytona, where it was a similar deal, and Anderson got docked. Just inconsistency in the rule book. Yes, I know they're guidelines. We might as well just call them CDC guidelines because they're not worth a damn. In my opinion, there needs to be a set of rules, penalties, There should be no favoritism whatsoever, and it doesn't matter if you're going for a win or 7th place. The fine should still be the same, and that's just how it's set forth, right? Everyone, there's that saying that I'm big on. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, because if the rules can be skewed, why wouldn't you take advantage of them? But if you know, hey, if I do this, I'm going to get this kind of a penalty, I'm not going to do that, right? It would be easy. And then Faulkner's pass in the heat race, I think he just overcooked it. He was being too aggressive. He was being too aggressive. I really think that was Faulkner's fault for just being overly aggressive. He should have checked up. That's one man's opinion. And also in the main event, there was no commentary. You know, we didn't have anybody talking about the race. It was kind of nice just hearing the motors before everything's going to go electric, and it's just going to be nee, nee, nee. And then all we'll have to look forward to is listening to the commentators. They're going to have to step up their game, because if you can't even have a background noise of the motorcycle, the only thing left there is you're going to have some sort of content to fill the dead space. Oh, before I sign off, I just didn't make this into the actual green screen of the footage. Chisholm. He's just living proof that if you get the right bike, you can get good finishes. I mean, there's more semantics to that. However, it goes without saying that just having good equipment underneath you is extremely helpful. You gotta have the talent first, but having the equipment is part of the equation. And some of the best comments of the last video is, bro, that laugh is so creepy. It's almost like a Quagmire type vibe. Never do that giggle, pervert laugh again. Okay, promise. Okay. Then Jeff Brown says, I do think your laugh is kind of creepy, though. I don't know how to think about that. And, you know, Roger makes a good point. Why is there no toilet at the start? That is very appropriate, right? Hey, if you want to join the channel, you can have some cool, sweet-ass little emojis to add to the comments. Make it a little bit more spicy. This is Johnny F. and Hopper. Until next time. Keep it WFO.